Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Have you felt it yet? The profundity of this trip. It's just another tourist area, right? You're going to remember this time. There are energies here which may not be repeated like this again. It's a unique group of souls that gather to celebrate, leap with joy and dance, to ponder the history, and to plant the seeds of new consciousness. This is Elijah country, and you know it, and you have been taught it. We've already discussed Elijah and Elisha and the things we wanted you to know about that ascension event. The letter is A. And it's right in the middle of the word peace. And we have chosen that letter, you would think, for ascension. Not exactly. We're going to call this channel Ascension of Planet Earth. And where better to give this than the example of ascension and the energy of ascension that is in this region, that is celebrated by so many. There's two parts to this message. And I want to be clear on something. Some of this may seem to be review to those who have followed the words of Kryon for years, who know why I'm here, and have been invested in this particular concept of an ascending planet. But dear ones, there are so many who have not. They haven't heard the story. They don't know what I'm going to say, especially those in the region. Many are listening. And these 13 channels will eventually be called the Israel channels. Put together as a package of 13. And I'm telling my partner right now, they are to be published in many languages. And because of that, we must give you this information. Information that is old to some and revolutionary to many who have never heard this. When we say ascension, and we use it as ascending planet, it doesn't necessarily mean the population of the planet is in an ascension time. We're talking about something different. The best we can describe this in 3D is the ascending vibration of consciousness on Earth. Even that is a metaphor. But if you were able to measure human consciousness on a scale of 1 to 10, and the 10 is mastery, you're in 3. But dear ones, you've been in 3. You've never really moved from 3. You have had concepts of 4 and 5 and above. The concepts have been given to you from the ascended masters. But you haven't owned it. You haven't lived it. And you're stuck in 3. Please do not turn off this channel yet. There is every indication I'm right. For if you look at humanity, you haven't learned anything. You haven't learned the basic. War is not a solution. We said this before. Hatred begats hatred. It creates it. War creates war. Anyone in the process of warring for any reason is going to create more war. That should be obvious by human history. All you have done is conquer, reconquer, conquer again, and again. The last 2 times it has involved the entire earth. And it was scheduled yet again. Now I want you to think for a moment with me. Would not you agree that the human nature which has created this cycle is not wise? It is immature. It hasn't figured out the basis of love. It hasn't really figured out anything. That's what we're talking about. Human nature seems to be the same. And if you're a psychologist, you are convinced it is. And that is what you work on when you help another human. A static, unchanging consciousness of a human. And so it is no wonder that you wring your hands in frustration, for it's all you have ever seen. There is a metaphor of this that every parent would understand. When children grow up, they grow through consciousness shift. When they're 6 to 8 years old, there's a certain consciousness that they have. They are socially dysfunctional. They haven't figured out what works with other children. They're consumed with themselves. They're just growing up. They're in survival mode. They have tremendous egos or self-worth issues. Very few 6 to 8-year-olds in an old energy are wise and balanced. That comes later. When they get together in the playgrounds of schools, there is peer pressure. They don't understand each other. Sometimes they will assemble themselves in gender-specific groups, beliefs, even neighborhoods. They'll throw rocks at one another sometimes. They will be the bully of the playground. It's a tough time. They may get in a fight or two. They'll go home, and their parents will see what has happened. It has been common throughout history. Then they grow up. When they're 17 or 18, they have an elegance that they have learned, a wisdom. They've discovered that others their age are similar to them. They can have fun together, go out together, enjoy music together like never before. Doesn't matter where they were born or what neighborhood they live in. A 17 or 18-year-old is not like a 6 or 7-year-old. Is this too simple for you? Humanity is stuck in the playground. There's proof. Just look around you. Look at what is happening on the planet right now, even still. An ascending planet is a vibration of consciousness that is going to climb out of the playground so that humanity starts to have a wiser human nature. I am making this very simple for those who have never heard this concept. When we talk about what has happened on the planet, which I'm going to in a moment, this will have credibility to what I'm talking about. Is it possible that you're going to see human nature evolve past what it has been into an area you have never, ever seen? And yet you've been told about it. The masters who walked here told you about it. Now I want you to turn the page. I want to talk about history. I want to give you some information that not all have heard. In certain parts of the world, this is so well known. Here, not so much. In this region, you are consumed with the history of the region. You are consumed with the prophets that you have known in the region, and nothing much more. You may not be aware of what I'm going to tell you. There's a bigger picture, and I want you to assimilate it and understand it. I want you to go research it. I want you to check it out, because it did not come from Kryon. I'm going to give you a history and prophecy that you may never have heard. When we were in Istanbul, we gave a channeling called The Unknown History of the Planet. And we did it there because there and nearby there are many new discoveries about places they cannot understand, indicating cultures that may not have existed, in languages that they have never seen. There is much, much older history than what you think has been in this region. Even in this region, there is older history than you think. We speak of Sumeria, not Samaria. Sumeria, in the Indus Valley. Go find it. More than 9,000 years old. And that's just here. Dear ones, our teaching has indicated that those who have come from what we call Lemuria have an Akash on this planet that is over 30,000 years old. Do you believe that? Those in this region listening to this message, don't turn off the channel. Give it a chance. There is evidence that humanity has been here far, far longer than you think. It may actually make this area young. The Aborigine is indigenous. Now we're going to use that word again and again. It means original human being in an area. Indigenous, the first ones. Most of them don't have a country. They have a family, a tribe, names that you have not heard, which would represent who they are. The Aborigine has been documented in his land over 30,000 years. That's because there was no conqueror, an isolated continent. Nothing touched it. No battles. Can you imagine such a thing? And the government that is modern in Australia has documented this. They've been here for 30,000 years. They'd been there for 15 or 20,000 when Abraham was born. Do you believe me? I want you to go check it out. I want you to look for yourself so that you will understand what's coming and what I'm going to tell you. There are prophecies you have not heard, and they come from the first human beings. A prophecy that is collective. Collective means it comes from many, many, many places, through indigenous tribes that have never met one another. Only recently on the planet has this been discovered that the same prophecy that is over 10,000 years old is known by original indigenous. Have you heard of the Mayan calendar? Many of you have not. A mysterious thing, perhaps, in a pagan culture far, far away. Let's dispel a rumor. They were not pagan. They believed